My musical journey quite started naturally because the music was there in my family. Right from the beginning I have seen my parents doing, my mother used to be a great composer and she learned all kind of vocal music. All years that she lived along with performing. So different lyricists and music makers I used to see coming to my house and different sittings and learning sessions and music getting made there. Songs are getting made, music as preludes and interludes of a song and all those things I used to also see along with classical music going on. So that somehow it influences a child, as I think now, that I was groomed with that ambience all the time beside me. So music was basically like food for all of us, me and my parents. It was like that. That's how I was groomed, and I was, I think they saw the interest in me for tabla and vocal both. So I started learning both. I was learning vocal from my mother. My father used to be a tabla player as well. So tabla and vocal both were going at the same time. And many maestros at that time used to come to our house to play with my mother at times for house concerts that we used to make, small Batek style programs and all that. So many stalwarts, musicians of all genre, they used to come. And so that's how the interest basically grew up. Then I was taken to a Banaras Gharana Pandit of that time, Pandit Manik Das, who used to be, the senior was disciple of Pandit Shamta Prasad. So I started with him, and I used to have, very fortunately, there was a person who was living next to our house called Pandit Harisadhan Goswami of Lucknow. So he is kind of like a persona, kind of like Pandit Gyan Prakash Ghosh. So he used to come to our house and teach my mother vocal music and give me tips for tabla of Lucknow as well. So this both kind of studies went on. Then I was put to Pandit Shopan Shiv, who was the Gandaban Shagird of Ustad Karamullah Khan Sahib. And he used to learn from Karamullah Khan Sahib because he was alive at that time, Karamullah Khan Sahib. So he used to go to learn from him and to come to my house to teach me because I was very small, and he was coming to our house for concerts also, for programs and sittings. So my father requested him that if he can teach me. And so then my Farkabad study started. And so eventually, I started playing at a very early age for children programs and music competitions and all India radio children concerts and this and that here and there. Wherever I had a little opportunity, my father used to take me there. And that's how my grooming in music, training in music started, learning in music started. And so I was open to all kind of music in the beginning, not only classical music. So slowly I was put into composing things. So by now that helped me quite a lot. So I tuned a lot of the songs that I recorded also. I have a few albums of my vocal music as well. And at the same time I composed bowls of tablas, like I have sets of all kind of syllables of tablas that I tried to think over these years, last 47 years almost. And so I get them testified in front of maestros whenever I get a chance to play. And I try to teach, I try to share my knowledge with the students as well and my children as well. First challenge was to take this as profession because competition in all ages, all sectors, all segments we always had. So that's why to be able to, and as you know, that there is no notified way or path that one needs to follow so that you can take this as a profession. And how successful you will be, no one can say that. So learning and to be able to play something was a joy, full of joy all the time, that I go through all the time, even now through my analysis and my research work. And I still learn a lot all the time, and the joy of doing that is enormous. But at the same time, to have that thing projected in front of the people, an audience, what is the way to do that? That was a big difficulty in my teenage. But I was fortunate enough to Pandit Shalil Shankarji, who was a senior most disciple of Pandit Ravi Shankarji, who took me abroad for the first time in 1984 and took me to Europe and different countries, in Netherlands, in Germany, Switzerland, France. Everywhere I used to travel for about 7-8 years, I used to play with him. That was a learning session as well. And then later on, at the same time, I tried playing whatever the opportunity I was given at that time in India as well. So I was attached to, there are different gradations in All India Radio that I started doing. I got the President's Award in 1987 through doing that. And then slowly I had B and B high and then A grade. And last, about 10 years ago, I was given the top grade by All India Radio. And so those things came along with, the relationships with musicians. And, challenge was every day, to tell you very frankly. When you sit with the instrument, with the artist that you have not played maybe before, that is a challenge. And so that he calls you again next day. So you have to prove a point there. And that, at least you can get called. Later on you will prove your point. That how much you have gone up to your music and if the demand is being created or not. So that challenge is going on. It's like a full life process. So unless I feel the challenge is very, if it is not challenging, it's pretty mediocre in front of me. It should be challenging all the time, because imagination has no barrier, right? So, through imagination, how much you can go up to, that challenge with your system of the training, with your thought process, how much you can go up to. That becomes a big challenge, especially when you sit with the stalwarts on stage. I've been very, very fortunate to be accompanying, starting from Pandit Ravi Shankar to Sadhani Burkhasa, to, from that generation to next generation of them, like, Vidushi Kishonya Shobha Guptuji, Pandit Jasrajji, Girija Deviji, and again Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasiaji, Shiv Kumar Sharmaji, Birju Maharajji, all of them I have been playing since last 30 years now. And it's a journey and it's a challenge every day actually. Well, you see, it is pretty much linked with the learning system that I went through, that how it has kept me grounded and the urge to learn more and more. Because I found to be a Pandit, so-called, somehow, it is the much earned respect that people give it to you. But in myself, when I start thinking, I think once I become Pandit in myself, my study ends there. So basically I feel this, and it's not that I'm saying something because just for the sake of it, but I really feel it. And to know something and to realize something are two different things. As more and more I see the subject, it has become bigger in front of me. I feel that I have not become big in front of the subject because I know so much. More I know, the subject is as such, it unfolds in front of me like a sky. So in front of the sky, where are we?
Right.
We don't have, with our existence, we still crawl. So actually, the subject is as such. With my own research work and playing experiences and learning, I think I can see the subject getting bigger and bigger in front of me. So if it was, I could see this much, I can see that much now. So that also is a blessing. That through that experience I go through, I think whoever I play with definitely is a blessing too. At the same time, and I can continue doing that. They keep calling me, and it's a blessing with this subject that every time you learn something, you go through an enormous joy, and to be able to play that, like when I practice, if I go through a practice session other than my regular practice, I feel like like a king, that I've gained something. Inexplainable source. We can never say that when somebody says aha or kya baat, what happens inside, so that we shake our head, kya baat, bahut acha. What goes in mind with the sur and the tal and mixture presented to you. What happens inside, so that we keep saying those things. So it's like we are we are created by the nature, and the music is created by the nature as well. Oh yeah, it's actually, it has not become a habit, it has not become a profession. I would say it has become a religion actually. It's not that I have to do it, it's a 24/7 job. It mixes with your blood, with your body, with your everything, with your thought process. Fingers or the vocal cord, they become slaves of your imagination, whatever you think. So to be able to do that, just riyaz is not enough. The involvement, the 24 hours involvement with the music, that is, and the love and the passion and behind it, that is more important. And that takes someone from riyaz to sadhana. Two things are different. One, riyaz, it's regular practice or something. One is, one step higher, that's called sadhana. So, I think two things are different. One, when goes through that experience, it becomes, one together with the music. Because music, I believe, is first music and then life. That's what I believe on. So this is very personal feeling though. But yeah, I mean, those systems of having a right and good guru, first of all, is one has to be fortunate enough to have that, first of all. Then go through the 3 Ds like discipline, determination and dedication. And then of course, follow through the system. And of course, you need some sense and gift of the Almighty to be blessed. And then go through this path and your regular practice and all that. Those things are there initially. But it's a more than a lifetime's job, basically. It's not like I've done and I'm good now. It's not like that. In Western countries, the students who have been learning it, who have done, I'm talking about all of them, as and when I had an opportunity to come across, I know many musicians who have been living on Indian music who are Westerners, and in all over the globe, not only in Europe, in America, I have seen many of them are living on Indian music. They are doing Indian music, and their livelihood is going through that. Some of them are professors in big universities of Indian music. Some of the Westerners are, and some of them are playing concerts also here and there. So they are doing pretty well actually. And if I, for the betterment of that, because the contributions of our elders like Pandit Ravi Shankar, Ustad Ali Khan Sahab, Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab, Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, in terms of vocal, and then in terms of, in terms of instruments, and in terms of tabla, Ustad Allah Rakha, and later on Ustad Zakir Hussain, especially in the West, the contribution of them, and later on slowly the vocal music of all the legendary names. I mean, I don't want to give you a whole list. We should not forget about the contributions of them. For them, these people, they know about the Indian music, they feel the greatness of it. I think for academics and music can go hand in hand. I have a strong belief of that, and I have done it, but not because I have done it. Whatever I have done it, but in academics. At the same time, the graduations and post-graduations that some of us musicians have done it, along with the music. I think music grows someone up in a different way. Someone who has grown up with music, doing music, feeling music, listening to music, will be a different person than others, and cannot do something wrong in their life. That's what I think, and I believed I have experienced that as well. Is something which is a long-lasting thing, like it's a lifelong lasting thing, and it can entertain us 24 hours, even if we see from the entertaining point of view. So it's I think one of the greatest thing that if we can transfer this to our next generations, and we should actually do it, because I believe as far as music goes, all kind of music. It's not only classical music I'm talking about, but especially classical music. We have two kinds of classical musics in the whole world. One is Western, one is Indian. These are followed over the globe. So we should be proud that we are Indian music students. This is what I think, and I think this is the greatest gift of the world if we can transfer it to our next generation.